So today we're going to do a story about Queen Esther. This is a familiar story, maybe you've heard of before. You can act this one out at home, just like we are here at our house, because I brought my helpers with me again today. The story of Queen Esther. Scene 1. Esther knelt before King Xerxes. She was nervous. She had never been inside the royal hall before. She had never seen the king up close. Her cousin Mordecai waited behind her. Esther's parents had died when she was young, and Mordecai had raised her. He was the only father she had ever known. "Esther, you are a beautiful woman," the king said. "You are also kind and intelligent. I want you to marry me." Esther gasped. Mordecai smiled. The king placed a crown on Esther's head. He gathered all his officers. "I invite you all to a banquet," he said. "Let's celebrate our new queen, Queen Esther." Scene 2. King Xerxes' trusted advisor was a man named Haman. Haman demanded that people bow down as he walked by. One day, Haman passed through the palace. Everyone bowed except for Esther's cousin, Mordecai. "I order you to bow like all these other peasants," said Haman, glaring at Mordecai. "I bow only before the God of heaven," said Mordecai. "I respect you, but I do not worship you." Scene 3. This made Haman angry, and at the next royal meeting, Haman announced that a dangerous group of people in the kingdom refused to obey the king's laws. The king did not know what Haman was talking about, that he was talking about Mordecai and his family. He issued an order that these disloyal people should be killed. He put the king's stamp of approval on the decree. And when Mordecai heard the order, he shook with fear. He raced to the palace to find Queen Esther. Scene 4. As Mordecai raced to the palace, he came to Queen Esther. "You must beg the king to spare me and our family," Mordecai told Esther. "But you know the king's rule," said Esther. "He does not like for anyone, not even me, to speak to him without an invitation. If he does not hold out his scepter to show he approves, I could be thrown into prison. If I speak to him and he gets angry, it will make things worse. I will wait for an invitation to the royal hall." "Do not wait long," pleaded Mordecai. Scene 5. Esther waited and prayed and fasted. One day passed, then another, then another. On the third day, after she had fasted and prayed and asked the Lord to help her, she could wait no longer. Once more, she found herself kneeling before King Xerxes. "My king," said Esther, her voice shaking, "you did not invite me here, but I must speak to you. It's so important." Esther waited. She watched the king's face. He smiled and held out his scepter. Esther nearly collapsed in relief. Esther knew that the king would be angry if she asked him to change a royal order. Luckily, she also knew that he never turned down a delicious meal. "I have prepared a banquet," said Esther. "I would like for you and Haman to dine with me." Scene 6. That night, they ate all of the king's favorite foods. The king was pleased. Esther wanted to be sure she had won his favor, so she invited the king and Haman to dine with her again the next night. The king and Haman feasted once more on food Esther had prepared. "This was the most delicious meal I have ever eaten," the king told Esther. "If you wanted half the kingdom, I would give it to you now." Esther took a deep breath and said, I do not want your kingdom. I only want to save my family. The king frowned. Your family? I do not understand. Yes, said Esther. Soon they will be killed, according to the royal decree that was created by none other than Haman. King Xerxes turned to Haman. Esther's people are the people you said were a threat to me? You tricked me. No, cried Haman. I did not trick you. I tried to protect you. Surely you believe me. You trust me. Not any longer, said the king. He banished Haman from the kingdom. He could never harm Esther or the people again. Esther prayed and gave her worries over to the Lord. God answered that prayer, and God will answer your prayers too. The end.